What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Pick and Roll. This is your NBA discussion and betting show that goes live on the Board NBA every single weekday to hear from Pips for his best bets and for some NBA discussion. The Board NBA, of course, is the NBA content division of the Hammer Betting Network. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can get involved with the comment section. We can interact with your comments in real time, which we like to do. We like that as well, but consider clicking on well, we're going to talk about the picks yesterday. One that was probably a little bit fortunate to win in the end. One that was extremely unfortunate to win in the end overall. Bit of a disappointing day over there. But let's go to the recap. We can go to the full season recap and put in a little bit of a word here with the people behind BetStamp. Actually got Pick and Roll featured on the media picks section here. So as I said, you can track all of our picks on BetStamp. Go to betstamp.app in your browser or the BetStamp app on your phone. Go to the Find Better section or the Marketplace section on your phone. And now, up here in the media picks section, you can find Pick and Roll. You don't need to search anymore. Go to Pick and Roll. You can see so far on the season, 35 and 25, a 5.2 positive on the total units. And yesterday's picks, first of all, let's talk about Zion Williamson. He got in foul trouble. The Pelicans blew out the Jazz. He only played 25 minutes and still covered both lines on the same game parlay. Pips, I thought it was funny that you switched off of the 26.5, which he would have not covered, and went to the same game parlay, which he does cover. Did you watch this game? And if so, how did Zion look?
Yeah, Zion looked amazing. He had a great start. He scored 12 points in the first, 9 minutes, and then got into foul trouble and sit out the rest of the first half. The second half, he was pretty heavily involved. He was scoring, and he cleared this line in the third quarter.
Yeah,
So he actually
which he needed to do. He didn't play in the
yeah,
fourth.
yeah, he did play it. Like I think he played 3 minutes into the
Oh,
fourth.
okay.
Yeah, and he went scoreless, and so yeah, it's great to win this one. This was one of the most unexpected blowouts of the season because how great Pelicans looked over the last couple of games. But yeah, having a couple of tough matchups going into the overtime against Phoenix, not enough rest, and coming away to the Utah Jazz, who is finally healthy. Markkanen is back, Conley is back, and yeah, they were pushing hard and they played great. And every shot they attempted went in, and yeah, very tough loss for the Pelicans. But I think this is just like nothing to be worried about. Just one bad
Yeah,
game.
of course. So for Zion, a blowout, we are fortunate to still pull through with the win. The other side of it, a frustrating loss here. Joel Embiid, dominant first quarter. It just looked like he was going to comfortably coast to going over the 31.5 that you pegged pregame. Only gets 30 seconds or so, a minute in the fourth quarter, where he gets 2 points and a really unfortunate loss by the hook here. This will help us transition into our discussion segment as well. But man, Joel Embiid, you got to be happy with your handicap here. This is one where it's just an unfortunate thing. Blowouts can ruin your bets. What did you see?
What did I see? I saw like terrible Sacramento Kings. Like I watched them the last couple of games and they're looking pretty poor. Like the start we discussed on the stream, I think it was just some variant stuff, like teams
It was a
missing.
small sample size, yeah.
Yeah, teams missing like great shots and playing like they played uh, over the last 4 games. They won one, and it was against the Cleveland, and Cleveland was without Mitchell. They won against the Clippers, and the Clippers were without every starter. And yeah, the game they won against the Pacers. Pacers like missed 30 wide open shots, and they lost to the Hawks, they lost to the Celtics, they lost to the Phoenix, they lost to the Bucks, they lost to the Knicks, and now they're blown out by the Philadelphia. Like I think their record is overrated a bit at the moment with what I saw, and especially with Fox his like regression to the mean.
Yeah.
Like he's now below his career average, and he started like way above his career average over the first 15 games. So I think I'm not that high anymore on the Kings, and they look like complete mess. And I actually loved how Sabonis played, but he got into the foul trouble and against Embiid like most of the bigs, and their offense went complete downhill and defense as well. So yeah, I was like actually amazed how a team with not a single positive defender on their starting five
Yeah.
can have like a average defense. That didn't make any sense. And now when they played a couple of good teams, we see why.
Yeah. It might be like the defensive rating is what we're looking at. Just trying to think of why maybe it was as high as it was. Maybe it was just a good pocket of defense. Maybe just, I mean, they were allowing a lot of points. Maybe it's just a pace of play. Like the other teams are scoring a lot, but maybe not scoring at the same sort of rate because they're getting so many extra possessions, such a high paced games that we've seen with the Kings. Maybe part of it is that. We have a commenter who's saying books need to start offering line stats through three quarters. I mean, unfortunately, it's really tough to lose bets like that where the guy barely plays in the fourth quarter. But when you're placing that wager pregame, these are just things you have to factor into your handicap as well. It's just it sucks to lose that way, but you can also win that way. So you got to look at other people who have the under 31.5 who are jumping for joy after that one. So it goes both ways. And like I said with the Zion one, I think it was a little bit. I mean, it would have been probably unfortunate to lose that one, but given the fact that he played limited minutes, you can also still win
Yeah,
there.
I'm actually avoiding betting overs, especially on huge numbers when the spread is higher than 8 points. Like
Yeah,
that's expected blow, but this one wasn't expected. I think
right.
the spread was like 4.5 or something. So yeah,
But
a
yeah,
bit
it's just like
worse.
any given night, you can just have a team that
Yeah,
blows out another team. I mean, I've been I've been watching the Raptors. They could beat the Hawks by 30 and lose to the Thunder by like 20 points. So on any given night, things can go a little bit differently for any team in the league, and that's just something that we are going to have to live with here. Try to beat that for the two official plays coming on in just a second here. Another piece of discussion we want to go to. Pip still wearing the red and white here. Croatia, unfortunately, did lose their semifinal to Argentina yesterday. Don't need to spend too much time on this. I'm sure a little bit upsetting to you, but Argentina won 3-0 in the end. Uh, just overall thoughts, Croatia's performance, and maybe the tournament as a whole, if you liked what you saw.
so for the first 30 minutes, I was like, okay, we are playing like
Yeah,
an even game,
I was shocked. First 30
and
minutes, Croatia looked
yeah,
really good.
and then like we are mentally hard and focused, and like that's like our biggest like
Asset.
yeah, biggest asset. And then we didn't get a corner on Perisic shot, and we were upset. And then we conceded a penalty, and we were upset. Like I think the corner was it was obvious one. We didn't get it on the action from that after that corner. We get the penalty, which I'm also not. I'm never talking to the refs, but I'm just trying to explain the mental approach. So we were upset about two things in a row, and we were just fuming. And the second goal is the result of that. Like we were completely lost our
Definitely.
focus. We were out. Yeah. And when you are down 2-0 in the semifinals against the Argentina, and they are like running like crazy. Like I love this Argentina team because they sit down superstars like Di Maria, Dybala, and players like that, and they put in a team who will just like nine hard-working players who will just run 10 miles a game,
Yep.
and Messi up front. And yeah, it's working like sharp. And yeah, I was afraid of that. And I don't think you can score 3 goals against that team like in 120 minutes. Netherlands was just lucky to get the second one. And yeah, it was difficult, especially when the main issue with Croatia is we don't have any striker. Like
Yeah.
our striker
Glaring.
players like in our national league, that's not the level for World Cup. And yeah, it was difficult, but they tried. They were playing. They're trying their best, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I think like I'm not going to speak for your perspective here, but a semifinal appearance in what was a lot of people were down in this Croatian team, probably foolishly going into the tournament, but a semifinal appearance is nothing to scoff at for this nation, and doing it in back-to-back World Cups. I think is quite impressive given the deficiencies with the team, just maybe not having the right striker there. So nothing to be ashamed of whatsoever losing to that Argentinian team. With that, though, we will transition now into our Thrive Fantasy segment. Guys, there is another great contest being offered up today by Thrive Fantasy. And when you sign up with code HAMMER, you get an instant 100% deposit match up to $250. You don't need a lot of those. You barely need any of that bonus to sign up to their contest for today. The $20 NBA Wednesday contest with $2,500 in prizes available. The grand prize for this one is $750. How do you win, you ask? Well, you go to the player props available. 20 of the players are listed here with a given player prop. You choose the over or the under. A point value is assigned to the over or under on their number. You get a certain amount of points based on if you hit that, you rack up the most points, get yourself on the leaderboard, get yourself involved with the profit. Again, only $20 to enter, and you can get that $250 bonus when you do sign up with code HAMMER. But don't stop there. Go to their prop lobby, go to all of their contests, and check out all of the other great prizes available because Thrive Fantasy offers over $200,000 in guaranteed prizes weekly. Again, sign up with code HAMMER, get yourself involved. We like to add to this segment here by always going to Pips for some of the best looks that he has on the boards. You can take it for your Thrive Fantasy endeavors. You can also take it if you feel like you can find that player prop available on other betting markets. So Pips, anything on the board today that you have an interest in?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like this is huge slate. So the first one I like is obviously Trae Young over 8.5 assists. He's questionable for this game, but he skipped the last one. They were blown out by the Memphis without Ja Morant. So I think he will play tonight. And this line, obviously, without DeJounte Murray, is like great. This should be at 10.5. And Orlando Magic is also conceding allowing a ton of assists. And yeah, this is the one I like the most. The second one I like is Terry Rozier over 9.5 rebounds and assists combined. The Hornets are playing this guy like 36 to 40 minutes a night. They are running 9-man rotation, and Terry Rozier and Kelly Oubre are shooting 50% of the team shots, and they have the ball like all the time in their hands. And yeah, I expect him to clear this pretty easily with heavy minutes and positive matchup. And yeah, great spot for Terry to clear this. I think he cleared this in like 70% of the game this season, so great spot for him. And the third pick is the one you should probably agree with me. That's Pascal Siakam over 24.5 points. We saw how the Kings defend last night, and if he gets aggressive Pascal Siakam, I think 30 points is reasonable for
Yeah.
him. And I think the thing about Pascal Siakam, like I think the Raptor he's having huge usage, but I think the Raptors need to go to him way more. Like if
Yes.
he's the
Yes.
most efficient guy, like I don't want to watch Fred VanVleet shooting that much if he can't make the shot. And Barnes isn't doing great. Neither of these guys are doing great at the efficiency besides Pascal and OG. So I would
Yep.
like to focus on these two guys getting their shot.
Pips, you have no idea what the state of Raptors Twitter is like right now. Yeah, the half court offense for the Raptors isn't good. Pascal Siakam has been very good, so just go to him, more. That's what the Raptors should be doing. And after back-to-back losses to Orlando, they could lean on their star player even more today. But those are your picks. Some great looks from Pips there. Make 7 more. Go to 10 of the 20. Get yourself involved for part of that prize. Now let's move on into our official pick segment, the things that you guys are looking for on the board for today. 2 official picks. The first one coming in, the Cavaliers game as they visit the Dallas Mavericks here, a player that we have gone to a couple times, I think, this season. That is Donovan Mitchell. Here is the first bet.
So the first bet is Donovan Mitchell over 25.5 points, which is minus 120 at BetMGM. He was minus 120 at like every bookie, like up 30 minutes ago, but it started moving, but it's still minus 120 at BetMGM. Yeah, because we choose our picks before the show and they can move, but he's still available at BetMGM. The reason I'm going for this bet is like Donovan Mitchell when he gets his minutes, he's clearing this line like unbelievable high rate, and
Yeah, I'll pull up the graph.
yeah, I can see. Yeah, that's like amazing. When you look just 31.6 points on average, like that's crazy.
Balling.
And yeah, he's clearing this in 17 out of 21 games this season with 81% clearance rate. And I expected this to be like 27 and a half, but they obviously put this line 2 points lower because when you look at Dallas points per game, but that's only because they play slow pace. They are eighth worst defensive rating in the league, and with moving Reggie Bullock to the bench, I think their defense on the perimeter is way worse. Like you have Luka Doncic, Tim Hardaway Jr., and Spencer Dinwiddie. Spencer Dinwiddie and Hardaway Jr. are not terrible. They are decent, but that's it. And
Hmm.
they are playing next to the Luka, who is below average, I will actually say minus defender, and their offense is stagnant, and they need huge Christian Wood minutes. And when he's on the floor with Luca and all these guys, they just don't they can't get the stops. And I like this spot for Donovan Mitchell. We saw like I think the last game, Shea scored 42, and he was the main guy. When you're playing against the Thunders, you just need to stop Shea,
Yeah.
and he still scored 42. And tonight we have like Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, Jarrett Allen, Kevin Love, like all these guys. So I don't think they can focus on Donovan that much, which will like make the game easier for Donovan. And everyone else is currently struggling on the Cavs team, especially Darius Garland. So I think Donovan with this crazy clearance rate is in a great spot
Yeah,
tonight.
love that one. As you said, a lot of books moving off of that line. Still, if you're watching now, can get that minus 120 at BetMGM. For people who maybe just aren't watching live or getting a little bit later, does this number have a limit that you would play it at? Is this like if it moved to a light 32 and a half, or if it got a little bit more juice? Like, what would you say is the cutoff point to bet this?
I would say getting 26 and a half at like minus 1.5, minus 110 is like the, the top. And also, I think this bet is minus 130 at DraftKings, and that's also 25 and a half minus 130 is like, I won't go higher.
So that's the limit. Okay, so for people
Yeah.
listening later, if you can't quite get the best price available, we encourage you to tune in live to do so because oftentimes, very often, there's good positive closing line value on these plays. But if you're watching a little bit later, that's okay. That can be the cutoff point for that number. So with that, we'll move on into the second official play. Second of two, this is a same game parlay involving okay, I have it wrong. I wrote it incorrectly here, but I'll pull it up in a second. If you can describe while I fix my graphic, it is the Detroit Pistons and the Charlotte Hornets. What is the second play here?
The second play is uh, Kelly Oubre to score 20 or more points, and Bojan Bogdanovic to score 16 or more points. And this same game parlay is minus 110 at DraftKings and BetMGM. And I would like to make this bet 1.5 units.
Okay.
And I'll just yeah, you can just show the graphs and I'll talk from
Yep.
there. So the I'm waiting to see which graph will you pick
Oh,
first.
this is the Bogdanovich graph.
Okay, so yeah, Bogdanovic. Obviously, if you look at this graph, when he gets 20 plus minutes, which is like expected tonight, he's cleared this line in 12 straight games, and actually in 15 straight games, and in 23 out of the 26 games this season, which is amazing. He's very consistent shooter, and he's also coming into this game after scoring 38 points against the Los Angeles Lakers. And I think this game should be close one, so Boyan should get like 30 plus minutes. and he's their he's their best scorer, and they need to lean into him heavily.
Yep.
And Hornets are actually a pretty good matchup because they are below average defense playing at the below above average pace. So great spot for Bryant to continue clearing this line.
And
And the
here's
next one,
Oubre.
and the next one is a guy that I don't like at all. Like he's one of my, I don't dislike that. I just don't like the way he's played. Like he's just like tunnel vision. He gets the
Well,
ball, shoot three, or
he's
run to
playing.
the
He's
rim.
playing like respectfully. He's playing for the Hornets. There's not much around him there.
Yeah, but he was the same guy when he was at the Golden State Warriors and like
That's fair.
way,
That's
way
fair.
better teams. Yeah, and the
Okay.
guy like he gets the ball to him 50 times a game, and he has an average one assist, and he's playing 40 minutes a night. Like that's just amazing. Like how
Okay.
can
Fair
you do
enough.
that? Like, you need to try hard to just have one assist, like on average. Yeah, and but he's currently his form is out of his mind. He's just consistent. As we can see in this graph, he scored 20 plus in 9 out of the 10 games. He scored in 8 consecutive games. And yeah, when we look at the matchups, that's like 76ers, 29. New York Knicks in a blowout, 22. Brooklyn Nets, 28. Los Angeles Clippers, 28. Like Boston in a blowout in 26 minutes, 22. Like these are like way tougher matchups than he has tonight, and he's heavily like drive to the rim, and these Pistons teams that just don't have any rim protection, and they are allowing a ton of points from the paint. They are fouling a lot, so if Oubre can play like as expected 38 36 plus minutes tonight, he's shooting like 20 field goal attempts on average over the last 7 to 8 games. His average is 25 points in December. I mean, he cleared this line in very tougher matchups, and he has a great matchup, especially for him as he's drive heavy. And yeah, I just think this is the line he should clear, even if he shot like 35% from the field.
So I did some investigating on Kelly Oubre there. You heard me typing here. Last season for the Hornets, he shot 12 attempts a game. This season, he's up to nearly 18 attempts per game. His field goal percentage is at 43.7, which is about his career average. His three-point percentage is down this year to just under 32% from three. This guy's just lighting it up. He is just shooting the ball as much as he wants. And when further in, he's in a contract year. So Oubre, I think, understands. I mean, I guess he's been like this for a while. We have somebody in chat saying he's always been like this way. And yeah, that's probably held him back from playing on good teams because he is a decent shooter and scorer here. But he cares about his stats. He wants that payday.
Yeah. And he played at the Warriors, man. Like, I remember his
bad
run,
Warriors
like,
team.
Yeah, I think he had like 10 game stretch where he was like 3 from 50 from the three, and he just kept shooting and missing. It was unbelievable. And then he go like on a crazy run when like in 5 games he scores like 70% from the three. Like that's Kelly Oubre.
Yeah, the Kelly Oubre experience, I suppose. But hey, if he shoots enough, he'll get the points and help us win the wagers. So let's recap the 2 picks that we have for today. All of them publicly tracked on BetStamp as well. But first play is in the Cavaliers at the Mavericks. Donovan Mitchell over 25.5 points, minus 120 at BetMGM. Get that while you can. And on the second play in the Pistons at Hornets game, Bojan Bogdanovic over 15.5 points and Kelly Oubre over 19.5 points. That's at minus 110 at DraftKings or BetMGM on their same game parlay tool. It'll likely be described as 16 plus and 20 plus, but for tracking, that's what we have it at over here. But those are your 2 plays, and that is your show. Pick and Roll is back every weekday to go through NBA discussion and betting in episodes just like this. So tune in tomorrow at 11:15 a.m. Eastern Time by subscribing to the YouTube channel, The Board NBA, or by following the Twitter account. If you are watching on Twitter, again, we encourage you to get involved with the live comments on the YouTube stream. So go ahead and check us out over there. Sign up to Thrive Fantasy with code HAMMER for an instant 100% deposit match up to $250. If you are watching on Twitter, I always put the link to sign up right below the stream, or you can check out the Twitter account later when I post some video content over there for Thrive Fantasy. And to finish off, we have some interesting World Cup content on the Hammer Betting Network. Check out Fine Margins on YouTube and at Fine Margins with 2 S's on Twitter for me being involved with a World Cup final and third place match preview tomorrow at 4:15 p.m. Eastern Time. But that is it from us. Let's find some winners today. We'll see you tomorrow for more NBA discussion and betting.